Hey everybody, welcome to Love and Relo, the voice of the relocation industry. I am your host, Ben Cross, and I'm so blessed and honored to be here today with Yesmin Aponte-Baldwin from Servicengine. Hola, Yesmin.
Hello. So excited to be here. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I've been a huge fan of yours for quite some time. So this is an honor for me to be on your show. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for saying yes. You know, it's so funny because I appreciate the kind words, and I know what this show has done for me in my career, and I know what this has done for so many people's career, and I know that it's even made people get married and have
Oh,
children
wow.
and get new jobs. Yeah, no, seriously, like you got to understand, I got the craziest stories when I was at WERC recently. And by the way, get in the comments, hit that like button, throw it in the comments if this show means anything to you. Let us know where you are, who you are, what you're all about today. If it's raining cats and dogs, or if this show means anything to you, put it in the comments. We appreciate you so much for watching. But Yasmin, I got to tell you a story. Can I tell you a story?
Sure, of course.
When I was at WERC in Boston, somebody came up to me and they said, "My 3-month-old daughter is here." They were from the UK. Shout out to
Wow.
Ben Sukia from the UK. He said, "My 3-month-old daughter is here." I said, "That's really beautiful. I'd love to meet her." He's like, "I wouldn't have her if it weren't for you." I was like, "What in the world are you talking about, bro?" I was like, "I got an alibi, bro. Like, I don't try to put this one on me, okay? I'm not taking no paternity tests out here. This is not on me, okay? Maury, I am not the father." He's like, "No, because we did our shows during COVID, and they were on YouTube forever. I was pursuing this girl on the apps, the dating apps, Hinge or whatever,
Uh-huh.
and she wasn't trying to talk to me." And
Wow.
he said she looked me up, she Googled me, and she found our Love and Relo episode, and she watched it, and she's like, "Oh, he's funny, he's cute,
Oh,
he's a decent person. I'll go out on a date with him." And then boom, baby comes, and now they're getting married, and it's like this beautiful thing.
look at you connecting families.
People say, "Why is it called Love and Reloads?" Because people out here in these streets hooking up. No, I'm just kidding. It's called love because we love everybody in the industry. But good things can happen, is all I'm saying. So thank you for
Yes,
saying yes to being here, Yasmin.
of course. This is my year of the yes. So I am saying yes to opportunities as they present themselves, even if they make me uncomfortable. I don't like the spotlight usually. So I am really excited to be here though.
Talk to me about your year of yes. And by the way, it feels like you were born to say yes,
Oh
Yasmin.
gosh.
Okay, Yasmin. It's in the title. Okay,
It's in
so
the
somebody blessed you with the yes. So tell me, what does your
yes.
year of yes mean, Yasmin?
It just means, saying yes to opportunities as they present themselves, whether it's personal or business, whatever opportunities present themselves, as long as they align with my purpose, I
Yeah.
am here to say yes.
What
So
was that
I'm really
moment or
excited.
that epiphany for you, though, that you said, "I need to be intentional about saying yes"?
Well, I think that over the years, I have tried to really hide behind a curtain. I am more
Mm.
of a worker bee. I like to serve. I really like to just help other people. And I think that has prevented me from sometimes just taking on opportunities if I don't feel like they're necessarily putting somebody else on. And so I think for this year, I told myself, you know what? If somebody reaches out, just say yes. What is the harm in that? And that shows part of my maturity, part of my growth, part of my development. And again, I'm excited. I'm a little nervous, but I'm excited for it as well.
You know how many people are going to probably DM you and start asking for a loan now? They're going to be like, "Oh, Yasmin, can I get $500? Yasmin, it's the year
I
of
don't know about
yes.
that.
It's the yes year." Make sure you get a decent interest rate if you're out here. Hey, get in the comments here. Hit that like button. Super producer Sammy Ray is in the comments here. Hey, guys, so excited for today's show. Sammy, are you saying yes these days? Sammy is saying yes. I got to give it
Awesome.
to her.
Year of the yes. Absolutely. Let's do
She's doing a
it.
lot of firsts. Most of them
Oh,
you wouldn't want to put on a resume, though.
that's
Rob
awesome.
Zeitz, hello from 72 in sunny Cambridge, Mass.
Hey, Rob.
Almost May. The spring finally hit, Mass. What's up,
Finally,
Rob?
right? It's crazy.
Where in the world are you based, Yasmin?
I am in New Jersey, Central Jersey. I am near Six Flags. That's basically all
Oh,
anybody
yeah.
knows about where I'm
Is that New
at. So
Brunswick?
It's Jackson, New Jersey.
Jackson,
It's
New
where
Jersey.
Six Flags is, right? It's the only thing around here that people know about, Central Jersey, pretty much.
I got a Six Flags tidbit for you here. Um, did you know Six Flags is from Texas? Did you know it was invented here in Dallas, Texas?
I did not know that.
Do you,
Wow.
do you know where Six Flags got its name? Sam, I need you to look this
No,
up.
no. Where?
Six Flags got its name from the six different flags that Texas has flown under. Flown under?
Mm.
Have flown over Texas? Six
Flown
Flags over.
over?
So originally it was called Six Flags over Texas.
Oh,
And then they went to
wow.
Jersey and they said, well, that's not going to work. Yeah, I'm serious. What are the six flags, Sammy? Say it
The six
loud.
nations are Spain, France, Mexico, the Republic of Texas, the Confederate States of America, and the United States.
Boom. Did you catch
Wow.
that? Yeah.
That's interesting. That's so
Put it
interesting.
in
I
the
never
chat
knew
for me,
that.
Sammy.
I never
Nice.
knew that.
Yeah, so you're welcome, Jackson, New
Yes,
Jersey.
thank you.
You are
Thank you,
welcome.
Texas.
I used to go to Six Flags when I was in high school. That would be like our senior trip or whatever was going to, because I grew up in White Plains, New York. So Six Flags
Yep.
was the theme park
The
to go
place
to
to
Six
go.
Flags. Yeah.
Right. Both of my I have teenager kids, and pretty much all three of my kids have worked at Six Flags. I mean, it's the place where the teenagers are working. They're able to work at the age of 14, so they all get jobs there, and it's the thing to do during the summertime, pretty much.
Uh, yeah, that seems like kind of a lot of responsibility for a teenager. Like the scream machine or whatever, like
Yeah.
you see people falling out of there and like no wonder because
Yes.
14-year-olds are working on the mechanics.
Yes, right.
Like oh,
You
are you
can't
buckled up,
bring your
sir?
bags. You can't bring your bags on the rides. It's just-
Oh my goodness.
Listen, it teaches them about customer service, that's for sure.
Yeah, get in the comments here. Let us know if you've ever been to Six Flags. Are you a roller coaster person? Yasmin, are you a roller
I
coaster
am.
person?
I am. I thrive for a bit of excitement. So I'm a bit of a daredevil. I have jumped out of a plane, 14,000 feet. So I am definitely into roller coasters and anything that's a bit of excitement.
What possessed you to jump out of a plane at 14,000 feet? Can you even breathe at that altitude?
You know what? At the moment when I was on the plane ready to jump, I was asking myself, what am I doing? I can't even believe I did this to myself. But once I jumped out, well, basically they pushed me out, right? Because they're
Yeah,
like,
they would have to
you
get
made it this far, you
11.
got to get out there. And it was so exciting. Honestly, it was the best experience ever. I'm so glad that I did it.
How long until you hit the ground from that height?
Oh, it was quick. It was maybe 2 to 3 minutes. It was not that long. I mean, you jump out, it's pretty fast, and then you're just coasting and you're just enjoying the sights, enjoying the view, and then you're just landing. So it's not really that long.
Hmm. I would never do that. Put in the comments if you would go skydiving. Sammy, would you go skydiving? Absolutely. What do you mean
I'd
absolutely?
be terrified, but I want
You're
to try
terrified,
it.
but you would do it anyway? See, you're a
Yeah.
yes.
You have to
See,
do
you're a
it at
yes.
least once.
I feel like, no, not for me. Let's get in the comments here. Let's see who's checking in with us. Richard Majewski, howdy from London. Shucks, Ben. You know these shows mean so much to so many people. Thank you, Richard. That means a lot to me. No one can do what you do, engaging the sector, guests, and audiences. Thank you, Richard. I appreciate you saying that, Richard. And Richard is like one of our most loyal supporters. Richard, that means the world to me. I love what you do too with Saba and the wine meetups and everything in person and virtual. I got a chance to join a couple of those. I do think that
Awesome.
what I do is kind of like somewhat straightforward. And then I watch other people do it and I'm like, okay, maybe. But I've been
No,
very
it's
fortunate to have a lot of help too. Shout out to
it,
Sammy
it
and
really
Jen.
is a gift. It really is a gift. I mean, you're connecting people from different parts of the industry and you're bringing out the best of us. You're talking about things that are impactful in the industry. So it really is a gift. And it's so appreciative that you are doing what you're doing today. So thank you so much for
Thank
bringing
you.
light to the industry.
Thank you so much. I think the hardest part is doing it consistently.
Hmm.
They say
Hmm.
most people don't get past like 12 podcasts.
Yeah.
It really is about doing it consistently, and that's probably the biggest accomplishment of the show. Is like no one show is that good, to be honest with you. Anybody that's watched them can tell you that. But it's the body of work, I think, that's
Mm-hmm.
actually something. So thank you so much. Let's get through these comments here. Get in the comments here. If you got questions for Yasmin, she's a daredevil. Really curious to hear more about this. Daisy says, hello, Yasmin. So excited to hear from you today. Hello from Global HQ. What's up, Daisy?
Hi. Hi,
Katie
Daisy.
Linehan checking in. Yasmin, always great to hear
Hi,
from you.
Katie. Oh my gosh, love you, Katie.
Isn't that nice? You feel
She's
the
the
love?
best. Yes, she's the best. I love
Yeah.
Katie. Awesome.
Sammy says Six Flags come from 6 Nations. I appreciate you putting that in there. Thank you. We're trying to, raise the level of scholarship here.
I love
Rob
that.
Rob's like Rob's always bringing it home. So the entire state of Texas did 6 international relocations. Who was their RMC? That's a massive group move.
Wow.
Yeah, we did. We reload and we didn't even move.
Yeah.
Look at that. Farrell, no thank you. Don't trust the parachute. Hi from the ground. Hello from the ground.
Well, let's just say my husband was down at the bottom holding my bags. He did
I
not
thought you were gonna say
join
like he
in
like
the
caught you
activities.
out of the air. Like I was like, that's so romantic. He was like, I got you, honey. I got you. I got you. And then you just like fell on him like the Wicked Witch.
He
or
was
something.
not even happy with the fact that I was doing it, but I had to check it off my list. So I'm glad I did. But it's not for everybody.
Yeah, Katie's feeling the love. Sending it right back to you. Rachel's got a question. Hi, Yasmin. Can't wait to hear what's going on with Servicengine and what you're jumping off next. Let's answer those in reverse order. What are you jumping off next?
Oh gosh.
If you could jump off at something, what would it be? What's your
If I could jump off of something, it would certainly be a bridge. I would do a bridge jump. I
which
think
bridge?
that
You got a bridge in mind that you looked at just driving by and say, gosh, you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to jump off that bridge.
I would say the George Washington Bridge. I mean, I'm in New Jersey, so I have to go with New York. I would
My
say
mom
that,
warned
but
me
I don't
about
know.
people like you. You know that, right? She's like, if Yasmin jumped off a bridge, would you jump off a bridge? She warned me about you. You're the people they tell kids about growing up. You know that, right?
Yes. That's something that my
GW.
mother would say is, I can't even believe we're like total opposites. She's like trying to stay on the ground, and I'm like, no, I need to go up higher.
So I saw this thing on Nat Geo, and check it out if you guys get a chance. David Blaine. It's called like "Don't Try This at Home" or "Do Not Attempt." It's called "Do Not Attempt," and he jumps off. He lights himself on fire in Brazil and jumps off a bridge.
Oh goodness. I don't know about that, but lighting
Okay.
yourself up on fire is a different level. That's for sure.
Oh, well, when jumping off of bridges gets boring,
Yes, right? I guess so.
do it
I guess so.
backwards.
You have to take it up a notch.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's get to the serious part of Rachel's question. A shout out to Rachel from Next Destination Marketing, our marketing firm. She wants to know what's going on with Servicengine. You got any updates or what's going on with work? How's biz?
Work is amazing. Servicengine has been around, and for those of you who may not know who Servicengine is, it's a global mobility technology company, and we have been providing end-to-end solutions for over 20 years. We're really excited to be in this space, helping our clients to solve problems through the use of technology. And so we've been developing some great new technology platforms. And one of the platforms that we've been working on has been specifically targeted for HR mobility companies. And so we are helping them to have a platform that belongs to them. HR professionals need a place to work. And that's what we've been working on, is partnering with them, hearing what their concerns are, what their issues are, what their challenges are, and developing this technology to help them with their day-to-day, managing relocation, having one place for all of their stakeholders to connect.
What's like one of the biggest pain points that relocation managers experience that they're trying to solve?
One of the biggest pain points would be decentralized systems. They have to log in sometimes to 10 different places in order to get information.
Oh, wow.
And so with Servicengine, we really work on integration, and we work with all of the different areas. HR, we work with payroll, we work with supplier partners. we work with the even creating a space for the employees so that it's a centralized place for all of the data to be housed, so that as the stakeholders need to gather information, gather data, gather insights, they know exactly where to go, where to get the information, and how to manage their programs. So that's, I would say, probably one of the biggest challenges right now.
One of the pain points that I've heard when it comes to integrations is with the HRIS system at the client company. They all have
Mhm.
these super robust Workday or whatever kind of systems, and it's not always a top priority for the company to prioritize a mobility system integration. What are your thoughts on that dynamic?
And that, yeah, that's a great question, and it makes perfect sense. The majority of the clients, the HR professionals that we are working with, they have very small programs, right? So it's really only one or two people managing the entire global mobility program for the entire organization. So they don't have these robust processes in place to be able to bring everything together. Um, Here at Service Engine, we have been working on how do we streamline and make it easier. So our platform does all of the work. It already has the integrations in place with HRIS systems. It already has integrations in place with immigration and tax, as well as RMCs, in order to better serve those mobility clients. Because at the end of the day, our goal is to serve them and help them with their day to day and make it easier for them.
Yeah, really, really interesting. I'm kind of tracking a little bit the technology in our space and wondering how it's going to change the whole in-house versus outsourced mobility trend, right? I mean, obviously mobility has been outsourced since, the 80s, 90s, right? And it's just that trend has just continued to kind of grow, and it's somewhat almost ubiquitous now that every program of size is out seems to be outsourced. At least that's my
Hmm.
perception. Maybe I'm
Hmm.
wrong. Do you think that these types of technologies, um, do you think these types of technologies may change that? I mean, will that ever change?
I don't think so. I still feel like there is definitely a need to outsource. But what we're finding is that HR professionals do want to have a level of ownership over their own data. So even if they are outsourcing services, they still want to be able to track data internally, to run reports, view analytics, and have all of their different supplier partners and all of their internal systems as well all talk to each other in one centralized location. So even if the service itself is being outsourced, I believe that internally, HR professionals are looking for one centralized place to be able to manage the workload that it's pretty complex, as you know.
Yeah. Yeah, that I've heard somebody describe that as one pane of glass.
Yeah.
Everybody wants one pane of glass to check and look at for one source of truth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And, we find that sometimes just providing ROI information or providing feedback to even their internal stakeholders, it's difficult for them because they have to log into all of these different systems in order to gain data, to be able to prepare information in order to do presentations. So having one centralized place where they can easily view where are all of their relocations, where are all of their transferees, what's the status of them, how do they, what's costing the organization, what are the challenges that they're facing. One centralized place to manage all of that information has been really key to this particular audience.
Super. Yes, that makes a lot of sense actually. That
Hmm.
makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense why they would want to invest in a system when, you know, I mean, obviously the RMCs offer technology tools and as well, but I mean, you know, investing in their own system to have that data in one place is kind of yeah, it makes sense. Now, do you guys then integrate with the RMCs as well, or do you integrate with the service provider level? Like how do you How does it work?
We have integrations with pretty much all of the different areas. We integrate with tax, with payroll, with HRIS. We integrate also with the RMCs. We already work with most of the RMCs already. So those integrations are already in place. So it's not complex for us to be able to create this place or this particular platform for HR professionals to be able to do their day-to-day work.
All right, let's get in the comments here and hear what people are thinking out there. Get in the comments. Let us know what your thoughts are. Rob Zeitz does not disappoint. He just don't miss. Replace pain points with a single pain. I feel like y'all should make some T-shirts, for the next conference.
I like that.
Oh, nuts, dude. You're on one today. Wow. You're bananas, dude.
Rob is super funny.
Is he funny? Like, I just get a chuckle. Like, I just love Rob. Thanks for everybody that tunes in. It makes my day.
Yes, thanks,
Jack
Rob.
Taylor, I agree with that. Data and analytics help identify factors that need to be examined and reviewed for improvement, which can only happen if you collect it and have it on hand.
Right.
Jack's got a question. Jack's always got to come through with the most smart sounding questions. So here we go. So, you ready for this one? Yasmin, you sitting down, Yasmin?
I am sitting down.
He wants to know, do you leverage qualitative or quantitative or both?
Both.
The answer is always all of the above, Jack.
Yes. All of the above. Check.
All, all right, let me ask you differently. Is it more qualitative or quantitative data points?
You know what? It really depends on how you want to view it. I think that, we do provide for both because we are thinking always, our thought process is always on the end user. Who is the end user? Who's the one using this technology? And what are they trying to do with it? How are they presenting the information? What's the quickest way for them to get the information? So we are looking at both and we are providing analytics based on both. That's for sure.
I appreciate you giving a serious answer while there's parrots over my shoulder.
I see.
I mean, is it hard? Like, this is like day 2 of doing this whole TV in the background thing. Yesterday, we were talking about Canadian politics, so we were trying to give some feel of the markets and whatnot. And then I just get all these, I get a dog eating food, I get a rabbit, I get a gecko. What is all the animals
Get the gecko.
Like, I feel like Geico should pay me at some point for all these dang commercials I'm running.
Right? I'm trying to focus on you and your questions.
Are you? Is this distracting? I am so sorry.
No, honestly, it's fine.
We're gonna fire our producer. Whoever it's thought
hilarious.
Of this is
it's funny.
I thought of it. Okay, I thought of it. Well, you're next. Okay, you can't.
It's a better background than mine, I guess. Mine is just a little boring.
Gosh.
So
honestly, part of me was like, well, if they ever get bored, they can at least just watch television. Just something.
They have you
good's
playing in the background.
Yeah, some real pros are gonna be doing something back there at least.
Marketing at its finest.
Yeah, it's not smart. It's just how I'm programmed, wondering how people are actively leveraging it. Love hearing stuff like this. Jack, feel free to share more about qualitative versus quantitative for people that don't know the difference and are too lazy to Google it. Farrell also says David Blaine also kisses a cobra. Would you do that? Would you kiss a cobra?
I would not. So
what about tap it on the head? Like that's one of the tricks they do. They tap it on the head. I think the trick is to come up behind it.
I probably not.
You ever sneak
Probably
up
not.
Cobra?
I would do like lions and elephants.
You would do a lion before a cobra.
I would. There's something about a cobra that really scares me, honestly. I just don't. I don't even like looking at them from afar. So that is one I would not do.
You would hate this show. You would hate this show. Now the rabbit's up. You would hate this show, this David Blaine show, because the stuff you're looking at is just, it's bizarre. So see, lions. I feel like with a cobra, it could miss. I might dodge the first one, or maybe the strike was errant, or maybe the venom. Maybe have an antidote somewhere. I don't feel like lions ever miss. In the history of lions, they never miss.
I don't know. There's something so regal about them that it still makes me somewhat calm. I don't know. It sounds a little crazy. I get it, but
yeah,
sounds a little crazy. But I would do those type of animals before I would do a cobra. I don't know. There's something about cobras I don't like.
My friend Nafis went to think maybe it was Bangladesh. I forget where he was, and he took, maybe it was Thailand, and he was taking pictures with a lion. They had this lion that just sat on this cement pedestal in like some I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was a temple or something like that. And you could kind of come up next to the lion and kind of like pet it and kind of like take a picture with it. And I don't know if it was sedated or if it was just really full, but it just looked
See, I
gross.
feel like a line you can see coming almost, like even though they're fast and everything, but I still feel like you can see them and hear them coming.
But would
I
you
feel
rather
like
see your
cobras are
death
so
coming?
quiet.
I wouldn't. I'd almost rather just shoot me in the back of the head. Like, I don't even want to know.
Different strokes for different folks. I don't know.
I
I feel
guess
like
different deaths for different folks. That's the saying. Rob Zeiss said, fun fact, there are plaques in Paris and London where the Republic of Texas had their embassies to France and the UK.
Oh.
Well, I feel like Paris and London didn't really help us much if we were under 6 different flags. I feel like we could have called for reinforcements a little earlier. Jack Taylor says, qualitative deals with people recording experiences, great for consumer stories and written, more word-based feedback, like describe your experience, what things did you like and not like, so kind of more verbatim. Quantitative is great for numerical tracking, but is extremely limited in data collection. Think scale of 1 to 10 questions. Not great for digging for root cause analysis. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we definitely track both. We have what we call our health indicator, which is tracking feedback directly from all of the different people who are utilizing or are part of a particular relocation. So not just the employee, also the HR professionals, also the suppliers. We also have post-check surveys. All of these factors are being taken into consideration to calculate this health indicator, which then provides feedback for the HR professionals and the organization as to how the move is going. And, it's also taken into consideration things that may have been missed, right? So we definitely do track all of those indicators, and we are utilizing them to provide analytics to the users so that they can use to better serve their employees.
As soon as you said to track health, my first thought were these like Neura rings that people are wearing and
Oh,
these like the
right.
wearable devices, the Apple Watch, I mean, all the things, right?
Mm-hmm.
They
Yep.
track your sleep, they track your heart rate, things like that. And I know this is not at all what you're talking about. That's what we do here. And but do you ever foresee a future, I mean, as wearables become more ubiquitous, where we track the actual health of transferees and the stress that they're. We talk about how relocation is the top 3 most stressful event in life, next to death and divorce. But
Mm-hmm.
like, what if the RMC or the service engine was tracking the sleep, the heart rate, the stress levels, the steps, the et cetera, of the employee to see how the relocation's really. We talk about wellness all the time, but we never
Yep.
want to link in
Mm-hmm.
to that data.
Well, there's so much that goes into tracking health, right? So how do you separate what's a personal situation that may be causing a stress versus what's a work-related situation that's causing the stress? So I'm not sure if we will ever be there, but it is an interesting way to think about it. The ability to be able to really hone in on what is causing that particular transferee pain points, what is causing them happiness, what is causing them stress. And then also everybody else that's supporting the process, right? Not just the transferee, because the success of an assignment or success of a relocation is not just the employee experience, although that is a huge part of it, but also all of the suppliers that are also supporting that particular process as well. How do you track all of that information? And so we're certainly working on that process to be able to track through the health indicator.
I know it's an absurd question, what I just proposed, but I'm going to stay here for a second. Okay? Because yes, there's personal issues and everything. But if on your move day, like first off, you're baselining somebody, so you give it to them a couple weeks in advance, you're baselining their normal stress levels, normal sleep levels, whatever. day of the move, day after the move, you know, in transit, etc. Like, I think that type of data across a large sample size of 1,000 transferees or whatever, I think you might start to see some kind of patterns emerge. And you're like, gosh, the day that they got delivered at destination was a really late night as they struggled to unpack their boxes
Mm-hmm.
late at night before their first day at work the next day, you know, compared to transferees who maybe had a 2 day, you know, settling in policy or benefit when they got there so that they didn't have to report. And, you know, I mean, just things like that. We talk so much about wellness. I mean, granted, I'm an elder millennial, so I don't really believe in wellness. I mean, obviously, look at me. But people talk about it all the time, and they talk about how important it is. And I feel like we have these little data devices on I keep pointing at my wedding ring, which just tells you one thing. But, you know, on
The
the other
wrong hand.
finger, right? You know what I'm saying? And yet we could still, couldn't we easily just like pair them? Like, you know, you pair a device, like you just
Mm-hmm.
pair it to your Relo app, you know? Like does Servicengine have like an app, like a phone-based app or something like that to track stuff? I'm sure it does, right?
We do have online access
Yeah.
for users to be able to log in, track information, check information.
Yeah.
Absolutely, in today's day and age, like you just
Yeah.
have to have mobile access, right? So,
Yeah. Pa-
absolutely,
pair
there's a
your
way to
Apple
track.
Health. Pair your Apple
Yeah.
Health watch. I don't wear an Apple Watch, obviously, but pair your Apple Watch, pair your Neura Ring, pair your, you know, Neuralink device one day. Yeah, I just feel like there's a lot there. I'm telling you, Yasmin, we always talk
There
about
is.
innovation in this industry, and people are like, we're not using the data that we have.
I totally agree, but I think that today's day and age, everybody is so serious about privacy, right? And even sharing health information is so critical nowadays. So I think that it's a very complex area to
Yeah,
have to go into to be able to just get personal information
I
as it relates
guess.
to health.
I
Yeah.
guess, but like you look at me, you pretty much know all you need to know about my health, right? Like you could probably
Stop it.
guess a lot of things, you know what I mean? Like I don't think it's
Stop
really
it.
that big of a secret. I think we try to keep our data secret, like, oh, it's super
Hmm.
secret. Like, is it really? I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. Is that a big deal? Let's see, we got people here coming in the comments here. Rob Zeit says, train on AI to measure stress from people's tone of voice and word choice in calls and emails relative to their baseline. So when they're cussing out their relocation counselor, they're like, get me the damn household goods. Where's my temp living? Blah, blah. I'm stuck outside. It's raining. I can't get in my temp housing. And like Ben said, if you see spikes at certain key days, you might see a pattern. Thank you, Rob. I like
I
how
mean,
I
I,
like how the
I,
craziest
I like
person
how
in the
Rob
comments has to
thinks.
make me sound
I
normal.
like
Thank
how
you, Rob.
Rob thinks. However, there are people who talk like that on a normal basis, right? There
You're
are
from New
people who
Jersey.
are
You talking to
I'm from
somebody
New
from New
Jersey.
Jersey?
Exactly. That could be common in some areas. So again, there are some complexities to identify. Well, who are you talking to? What part of the world are they? And
That's great. She's like, I talk like that at the deli. Hey, yo, with the gabagool, huh? Oh my gosh.
always in a rush, always on the go.
But your baseline, but to Rob's point, your baseline
Yes.
is elevated, is New
Hmm.
Jersey, right?
Yeah.
But then when you move, you're like New York, or like, it's like, oh snap.
Texas,
She's
more relaxed, right? I would
yeah,
assume Texas is more relaxed.
she's talking out of New York, but she's in North Carolina. Alert, alert, there must be a problem.
That
Just
is
kidding.
funny.
Oh, this is so funny. We're being ridiculous. Speaking of New Jersey, Jack Jampel in the house. What's up, Jack? How you doing, buddy? It's good to see you.
Hi,
Jack, I
Jack.
want to know. Jack's in the medical device business, okay, at
Mm.
Stryker. One time Jack was trying to help me with a job, and he said, he's like, how do you feel about blood? I said, I said, I prefer it in my body. And he said,
Not
well,
to look
I
at.
got this, I got this job. These jobs at Stryker, these medical device sales jobs are pretty good gigs. If you want me to refer you, I was like, well, that's kind of interesting. What goes into it? He's like, well, you got to be in the operating room, teaching these doctors how to put the hips into the patient. I said, it seems like a really bad time for a lunch and learn, Jack. It seems like we could have talked about this weeks ahead of time. The guy's bleeding out, and I'm teaching you the hip technique right now. It seems a little, you
a
know?
little scary at the
But at the
moment.
same
But
time, as a
listen, I'm sure,
salesperson,
yes.
phenomenal time to close a deal, right?
Absolutely, right? Like just coming in, just killing the
Pain
deal.
points. You're just crushing deals in here, crushing hips, cashing
Crushing
checks.
hips, crushing
That's
hips and
it.
cashing checks.
Oh man, that sounds bad, right?
Sounds horrifying.
Right.
Horrifying. Okay, check that. Um, this is great. Jack says, "What do you look for from suppliers as it relates to data?"
So it really is driven based on clients, right? Each client that we work with has their own specific needs. There's always a baseline of information that is typically needed, but every client really relies on their suppliers to provide specific information that they may need to deliver on. And so that is where our expertise comes in terms of technology is how do we bridge the gap between what the supplier can provide, what the client is asking for, what information we show in our centralized platform to be able to then bridge that gap between the two and make it a seamless process. Because at the end of the day, again, it all comes back to what do our clients need, right? And we're all, at least we're suppliers as well. So we put ourselves in the same process to be able to just bridge that gap between what suppliers are able to provide and what the corporate clients are asking for.
Yeah, and I imagine like I have the data, and then there's I can actually API this to you or EDI this to you.
Hmm.
Jack, I would imagine, just simple things like, I mean, do you integrate mover data? For instance, Jack's a mover from
Absolutely.
Canada.
Yep.
Yeah, so like
Yep. We have
pickup date,
APIs.
delivery date.
Hmm.
Yeah. So what
Yes,
are,
we
what are
have.
the types of data points that you might get from a mover, let's say?
Oh gosh, I mean, location information, dates, employee information, move types, and sometimes even the benefits that are being selected. So again, it really varies by client. The beauty of Service Engine is that it's not a one size fits all. We really work with every single one of our clients to determine what are their specific needs, and then we utilize that to then work with everyone else that is involved in the process. And we have a collaborative process in place where we like to play happy together with everybody. So we're very collaborative in order to serve our clients and be able to then deliver the best product, the best service to them at the end of the day.
Makes sense.
Hmm.
Um, I love when people call me when I'm in the middle of the show. That's great. I'm gonna start taking live calls one day. If you guys got my phone number, you want to call me, feel free to call in. Um, Question, global mobility has evolved a lot over the years. I mean, I've been in this space probably for close to 15 years in the managed relocation side of it, and I've seen a lot of changes. I mean, what's maybe one trend that has surprised you?
I would say the one trend that probably has surprised me the most is the decline in international assignments. I know that when I first started right out of college, international assignments, the long term assignments, were such a huge deal. They were like cream of the crop. They were like for the high level executives, they would get these robust packages. And, it was considered such a privilege to be on these international assignments. And now it seems like employees are really reconsidering the types of moves that they're taking. They're considering more of the family. They're thinking more about what is best for their family, not necessarily just a career move.
Yeah.
So they are taking the short term, the business travel, they're kind of going that route as well. I don't think that is just an economic thing. I think that it is just a shift in the way that executives are looking at their careers and how they're weighing that against their family dynamic.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that is one of the most underreported challenges that we face as an industry is the changing perception around the importance of our kids' careers.
Hmm.
Right? We
Hmm.
think of our kids like having a career. And it's like, listen, until y'all start earning money, y'all don't have a career. You got a bunch of hobbies strung together with some
Right.
education in the middle. You do not have a career, okay?
Yeah.
Get a paycheck and we'll talk about your job, okay? But for
Okay.
now,
Uh-huh.
my job's taking me to New Jersey.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a park there. Okay, we'll deal with it. No, but we do. We think, oh, my kid's in
Mm-hmm.
honors this, or they're in AP that, or they're captain of the football
Yes.
team, or head of the cheer
Mm-hmm.
team, or they got a boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever. Like, hey, you
It
know,
just weighs so much more now than it did before. And then also the considerations of the working spouse, right? So now you're not just relocating and worrying about the transferee, but you're also thinking about, well, what spousal assistance can you provide? What benefits can you provide to the family so that it is a better move for the employee overall? And then there's a better return on the investment from a company perspective, because if the employee is happy, the family is happy, then there's typically a positive return on investment from that particular relocation.
I would love to see. I think this is, yeah, so wise. I would love to see a joint study by WERC and or FEM or both,
Hmm. Hmm.
and one of the leading talent acquisition associations to ask the TA and recruitment piece of the business, what is the number one reason a piece of a talent would not move, would not relocate for a job?
Mm.
You know, what, why are they being, why are these relocations being turned down? Is it richness of benefits and policy? Is it spouse's job? Is it don't want to relocate the kids? Is it can't sell my house because I'm underwater on it
Hmm.
and you know it's not worth what I paid for it, or I'm locked into a 3% interest rate or 2.5 and I can't, you know, like I would love to know what is the top one, two, three reason. I think there's so much to be gleaned there because this industry, the managed relocation industry, is about solving that problem. It's
Hmm.
about removing that blocker that prevents the top talent from circulating around the globe. To I say, I say if talent is the lifeblood of an organization, global mobility is the heart,
I like
right?
that.
But
Hmm.
these blockers exist like
Yes.
clogged arteries out there, and I want to know
Hmm.
what's clogging these arteries up.
Yep. I like that. And, well, let me ask you this question. If you were to relocate and you had to create your ultimate package, assignment package, what
Mhm.
would be the top three things that would be the most important to you?
Well, is this a domestic relocation or is this an international long-term assignment?
Um,
I think it's
let's
super
go
important.
easy. Let's go easy. Let's go with
Okay.
domestic, because I do
Okay.
feel like there are more domestic moves than international. But
Yeah.
yeah, let's go with that.
And internationally, you have some non-negotiables like immigration, right? Like
Oh,
so.
absolutely. Absolutely. That's a
All right.
must.
So let's go domestic. Let's go domestic. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Okie dokie. Okie dokie. Well, my first thought, my first number one thought is, what can my wife not live without? And she's already told me, listen, if it ain't a full pack, I ain't about it. Okay. So don't even come to me if it ain't full pack household goods. All right. If you ain't packing everything and unpacking it too, like
Yep.
don't
Hmm.
even knock on my door. Okay. All right.
Moving is stressful. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
she's spoiled rotten. She knows. She's like, listen, I've had so many full packs that I couldn't even go back, you know. Um, and so that's got to be number one. My second
Hmm.
thing that I think about is what is the most value monetarily to me,
Hmm.
and home sale, you know, assistance, right? Is like when I sell my house, I'm gonna be in for, well, it depends. Am I in for 6%? Or am I in for 3% and then the buyer pays their commission? But let's just assume
Hmm.
I'm in for 5 to 6% of the sale price of my home. All right. And if my house is a $500,000 house, let's just say, then five times five to say it's 25 to $30,000 in real estate commissions.
Mm.
So that's a lot of cash
Yeah.
right there. And then God forbid I'm upside down on it because I just bought a house last year. So now
Hmm.
maybe I had no equity in the home, and then loss on sale comes into play because I might take a 20, 30, 40, $50,000 bath on the thing. So that's another thing that I think about.
Hmm.
And those aren't like, oh, it'd be nice to have this. It's like that's cash money in my pocket, right? So,
Hmm.
and I don't know. Do you consider? You said top three things, right?
Yeah, I did. And just going back to the original question, right? I feel like um, family is probably at the top of everybody's list right now. It just seems like there's been a shift on what's important to the family overall versus just what is a career advancement opportunity for me
Yeah.
as an individual.
Well, and so what I was going to ask you is, of those top three things, I mean, are we just assuming gross up is just done
Yeah.
as a matter of course? That's
Yep.
not one of my bullets, is it?
No,
Is
that wouldn't be a part
okay.
of it. I think that that's just an
Yeah.
assumption in
Because
most
I got a 20,
cases.
because now I got a 25, $30,000 household goods loan.
Mm-hmm.
I got a $25,000 home sale. I've got a, $30,000 loss on sale. My package is now, oh gosh, my
And
package
those
is
are,
now $80,000,
mm-hmm.
and my gross up on that might be 60%. I was just teaching a CRP study group through NTRP, and the gross up for the higher income brackets could be as much as 60%.
Mm-hmm.
So now I've got another $50,000 of taxes on that, um, and so now I'm a $140,000 package basically.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of money, and I
It
haven't even gotten
is.
to temp living. I haven't even shipped a
Right.
car. I
Everything
haven't
else.
even
Exactly.
I haven't even
No,
shipped my pet Cobra yet.
it's keep it away
you know, um, how would you rate my answer? Scale of 1 to 10, Yasmin. How would you rate my answer?
from me. I would definitely say a good 7 or 8.
7 or
Absolutely.
eight. I think I
Yes.
killed it. 7 or 8. I don't even get a net promoter score on that. Like, are you kidding me? You wouldn't even recommend to a friend.
Seven
That's
or eight,
terrible.
I
Seven
would
or eight.
say.
You hear that,
Yeah,
Sammy?
yeah.
The voice of relocation gets a 7 or 8 on this. Okay. No, I'm just kidding, Yasmin. That's
Great
fine. What
job. Great
what would
job.
you? Not really. That's a C plus. What would you what would you change? What did I miss, Yasmin?
I mean, again, just to me, thinking back to what's important, and to me, I believe that family is just very, very important. And having a working spouse, for me, spousal assistance is super important. I can't just think about me relocating and thinking about myself. I got to think about my spouse's career, about their career advancement, and if the right opportunity presented itself, I have to take that into consideration as well, because at the end of the day, that is going to have an effect on the family overall. So I think that that's probably the other one that I would add to your list, but I thought your list was pretty good. I think a 7 or 8 is really
So
good.
spouse assistance, 7 or 8 means you get no moves in the winter. Okay, I know how these rankings go. Let me ask you this: how much is spousal support you think going to cost somebody to get?
Oh gosh, that could really range depending
I'm gonna say
on.
5 grand. I'm gonna say 5 grand. That's the number in my brain.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, honestly, with the way that the economy is going, I can see that number be even a little higher than that. Just the
Okay.
assistance that is required with,
Okay.
helping them find a job, helping them with um, understanding, how things are in a different location. And, there's a lot of maybe training that may be required if that person is certified or licensed in a particular country. So, anyway, it really depends.
I'm gonna tag a friend here. We're gonna ask a friend here. I'm gonna tag Lauren Herring and ask her how much should I budget for spousal assistance to find a job. I'm assuming this is not like psychiatric. This is just like straight up job hunting, right?
Yep.
Okay, good.
Hmm.
Because I could use a package, but anyway. I think, but here's where I'm going with it. If I got a $25,000 benefit for household goods, I got a $30,000 benefit for home sale, I got a $35,000 benefit for
Hmm.
loss on sale. Let's just say just round numbers. I'll come out of pocket for the spousal assistance if I only get three
Hmm.
of those.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
my is, I guess is my point,
Hmm.
Or if you want to really help your spouse, develop a list. Here's a shortcut. This is a shortcut. I'm not saying this is at all better than
Is this what you're recommending to the industry?
I'm not going to recommend it, but I'm going to say if you don't have any money left over in the policy,
Uh-huh.
make a list, do a LinkedIn search for recruiters and then name the industry. So recruiter plus industry name that your spouse is in. It will give you a list of 20, 30, 50, 100, 200 recruiters. Have your spouse submit resumes to each of those 200 recruiters and say, hey, do you have anything available in X market in my area of, because I'm relocating to the market. And let the recruiter who is the external recruiter who is like incentivized to make that placement, let them work on your behalf as your agent to try to help
Yeah.
find you a job.
Yeah. That's a great way to look at it.
Yeah. Rob Zeitz is saying Ben's answers here are demonstrating how much value an employee might lose if they're not advised by a relocation expert. A regular non-mobility expert managing their own move wouldn't be aware of these things.
Yep.
Valid.
Totally agree. Yep. Totally agree.
All right, Jack.
And again, it also
Jack.
depends on the industry, and it depends on, whether this person is certified or licensed in a particular space. And now, depending on the move, those are all things that really have to be considered that may affect that person's, salary or pay. So those are all things that do have to be considered. That's for sure.
Jackie from Jersey says, in my opinion, not relocating is all related to, because we were talking about why people don't relocate. He says, not relocating is all related to the new work from anywhere trend. I know you're going to tell me companies are going back to office, but just as many are not.
That is
Jack
true.
brings up a good point. What are your thoughts?
No, I totally agree. I think that there is a push by organizations to bring people back into the office, but there's also equally, I think, a push, from employees saying, well, I've been doing this work for all this time and I've been doing it from anywhere. So what is the point, right? So there's definitely both sides that it'll be interesting to see how it continues to develop in the future, because as we evolve and as technology continues to enhance, people are able to deliver work from basically anywhere. It's just our organizations open enough to consider the tax implications, to consider all of the logistics that happen when employees are working from literally anywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know, I totally agree.
Yeah. Interesting, Jack. I would never argue with you, Jack. I would never question the fallibility of Jack Jan Powell in this program. Jack, I love you, Jack. Thanks for the comment, buddy. Let's keep it moving here. Yasmin, we've talked about a lot of stuff. We've talked about throwing you out of a plane. We've talked about taming lions, but it's very heavy stuff. You want to have a little fun?
Sure, let's have some fun.
Let's have some fun. You want to play a game with me?
Absolutely, let's do it.
Good, you got no choice. We're playing overrated, underrated. Do you know how to play?
I do, yes.
You do? Okay,
I
well, it's
do.
very simple. I will give you a topic. You will tell me if it is either overrated or underrated. And then I will tell you
Sounds
if you're
good.
correct.
Okay.
Let's get into it.
Now, is it my personal opinion? You said you would tell me if I'm correct. So is it my personal opinion? Okay.
It's your opinion and then my opinion.
Gotcha.
That's not fair. Nobody ever said this was fair, okay? And my kids are like, that's not fair. I said, a fair is where you get cotton candy and Zeppelis, all right? Don't come at me with that fair stuff. No, I'm just kidding. All right, let's have fun. All right, let's get into it. Number one, the hustle culture. Overrated or underrated?
Overrated.
Overrated, okay. Why is that?
I just feel like overall we work better when we take a step back and can think of not just hustling for everything. We take the time to also work on ourselves, to meditate, to think about our mental health, to think about our spiritual health. So I do feel like it is overrated.
Okay. I feel like there's been a little backlash. The pendulum has swung anti-hustle culture. And now sometimes I feel like maybe we need to go back to hustle culture a little bit, and maybe we need to work a little harder. I don't know. Everybody comes in and wants to talk about work-life balance. I'm like, what life? You're 22. What life do you have? You live with your parents. I don't understand. But
I get that.
I mean, I don't know. I do. I
Again,
had a,
balance. Balance is the key word, right?
yeah.
Balance. So,
I did have a moment the other night. I was thinking
okay.
about this, and I'm like, my son is just he's turning 7 next. My baby is turning 7 next
Oh,
month. This well,
such a
next
good
month.
age.
Well, that's the thing, right? It's a beautiful age, and so is 6, and
Hmm.
so is 5. But soon, like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, those aren't as nice. And like 17's gonna suck. And like before I know it, it's gonna be here,
Hmm.
And I need to like stop working so hard, and I need to like enjoy and savor these moments, right?
Hmm. Absolutely. Slowing it down quite a bit to just also think about, what are the things that are truly important.
But then my next thought was, if that was true, why am I spending 3 hours a day on Instagram? Why am I blaming my job for my own poor decisions?
Hmm.
Like if I really wanted to prioritize spending time with my youngster, right?
Yeah.
Like I would just put the phone down and I would engage.
Hmm. 1000%.
So I don't
I
know. I think
hear
the
you.
job gets a lot of blame.
Well, that is true. That is true, and that's why I look at it as in balance, right? And that balance means different things to different people. So I think identifying with what is the best balance for you as a human being, so that you can better show up for your
Hmm.
organization. I think that that's really, to me at least, what makes the most sense is
Yeah.
how can I show up the best for my organization? And sometimes that does require me having a little bit more balance.
Yeah. Yeah. We've got questions coming in. Jack says, can we shift towards effective culture where if you spend 10 minutes and close 2 deals versus 10 hours and 2 deals, you just do what works best and makes you the best option available?
I mean, that's definitely a really, really great way to look at it. That's absolutely.
Yeah, Jack, but like what if 2 deals took you 20 hours?
Hmm.
Are you going to like work all night to get there? I mean, that might be what it requires. I
Yeah,
mean,
and it
it goes
depends on the
both
industry,
ways.
depends on the organization, right? Yes, it does. It absolutely does. But it's an interesting way to look at it.
Yeah, I also think that Jack makes a good point too, because sometimes things that take 10 minutes take 10 hours. We talk about that every morning when we do our morning huddle. We're like, what's the one thing today that you have to do? Like, if God forbid, like you had to leave work at 10 a.m.
Hmm.
Because something happened, something came up. What would be the one thing you did before you walked out the door to make you feel like you were productive today, right?
Hmm.
And that thing may take 10 minutes. But if we give it 8 hours, we'll do it at 4:45 or tomorrow when
Hmm.
we could have done it at 9:45. So like
So,
things
and
take as
this
long
is
as you give
where,
them.
yeah, no, that's true. And this is where I would like to kind of look back into the technology aspect of it, right? Because we're huge here at Service Engine when it comes to process optimization and looking at, well, what processes can be streamlined, automated. What can we take off a human being's hands to be able to just make the process continue to go? I'm sorry, I see you.
No, I was on mute. I was on mute. I was just saying
Oh,
to
okay.
somebody. Sorry. Sorry.
Okay. So, yeah. So, from looking at it from a technology standpoint, what processes can we look at to optimize and to push forward and to let technology work for us rather than letting processes stress us out and take up too much of our time?
I like it. I like it. We definitely need to
Mhm.
leverage technology for sure. For sure, for sure. All right. Let's keep it going. Next one. Overrated, underrated company culture.
Well, company culture, I would say, is certainly underrated. I definitely love an organization where you have autonomy. And so, depending on where you work, if autonomy is a central part of how the culture is run in that particular organization, I think that that's a huge plus. And so, I would say it's underrated.
Yeah, culture is super, super important. I think
Mm-hmm.
Peter Drucker said culture eats strategy for breakfast.
Oh.
And that's old. That's old school, right? I mean, culture is like a big thing nowadays, but like that's the he said that a long time ago. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
think so. I think it's also culture is the responsibility of leadership. I
Mm-hmm.
think leaders look out and say, I don't like the culture here. I think we need to improve the culture. Culture is really top down,
Mm-hmm.
and I've learned
Agreed.
that. I've learned that starting my own company. Um, so I think as leaders we have to really take ownership of that one.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
But I also think it's like an overused term too, like company culture. Like I think it's kind of a cliche too, Like what does company culture mean to you? How would you sum that up in using different words, perhaps?
Well, like I just said, I mean, it really depends on the atmosphere of how that organization is run. And at least for me, in my experience here at Service Engine, um, the company culture really is about embracing autonomy. And so we do have a lot of say. We share a lot of our experiences, we share a lot of our knowledge, we work very closely together, which I haven't always had that in the past at different organizations. And that makes it a really great organization to work for because you're not kind of walking on pins and needles about having ideas. We're so open to share ideas because hey, this idea may not work this time, but it may work on another time. And so having autonomy, I think it's just huge. We love to say here at Service Engine that people come here and just never leave. They're not allowed to leave. We're a small organization, but people that come here are extremely loyal to the organization just because of the culture that is in place. And
Interesting.
I agree. I believe that it does come top down.
Yeah, Rob says company culture is underrated but needs to be lived by leaders every day.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Interesting. All right, next one up. Overrated, underrated. The one size fits all mobility policy.
Oh, that's overrated. That doesn't work.
What's the
It just
better
doesn't
alternative?
work. Honestly, flexibility is just the word that we continue to hear. Is companies or employees are demanding flexibility from their organizations just because it, again, different strokes for different folks. People have different needs. And so the same thing that was offered in the past in these robust packages no longer is relevant today. Different people will require different policies in order to make the move successful.
Yeah, I remember as a young supervisor, we were always taught that you treat everyone the same, like equity
Hmm.
or equality is treating everyone the same. And I'm learning now, I think we're redefining that in terms of equity, and it's about giving people what they need, what they're,
Hmm.
meeting everyone's unique needs, if
Yeah,
if that makes sense. And so, but that's harder to do. That
it
requires
is.
nuance.
Right. And so, and that's the world that we live in right now, right? The biggest challenge that we hear is complexity. The biggest challenge that we're hearing from companies that we're working with is, well, how can they meet everybody's needs, right? How can you have one centralized platform that is really providing all of the flexibility for all of the different cases or case scenarios that they have. So I think the core flex policies just seem to be really, really popular right now because they're providing these core benefits, but then they're also providing these flexible benefits that employees can pick and choose from that will serve their particular needs because everybody just does not have the same case.
Yeah. Hit that like
Mhm.
button. Get in the comments. I want to know what your thoughts are. Love to hear from y'all. All right, next one up. Overrated, underrated, diversity and inclusion in global mobility.
Always underrated, in my opinion. I just don't feel like we have enough diversity in the mobility space. And that goes from everything from just having the right voices in the right rooms, having diversity in leadership, to take those different viewpoints into consideration. That goes into offering diversity in packages. So I absolutely think it's completely underrated. I think that we've made a lot of progress, but I think there's definitely more progress that needs to be made.
I'm gonna I'm gonna I'm gonna make you make a decision here. Which is the bigger issue? Is it diversity and inclusion in global mobility practice, like inside the corporation, or
Mhm.
is it diversity and inclusion in the global mobility industry?
I would say in the industry.
Hmm.
That's my opinion. I feel like again, just not enough diverse voices in the industry to be able to really account for what are people's specific needs. Sometimes you just, if you don't have the experience in a particular area, you just don't even think about it, or even if you're trying your best, right? So having more voices that are diverse in the industry will really help us all to be able to better serve our transferees and our employees and our clients.
So basically, too many white guys that don't know what they're talking about with podcasts. Is that what I'm hearing? Is that what I'm hearing? Oh,
Well, you're bringing the
yes,
right
yes,
voices
yes,
into
yes,
the
I am.
space, right?
Yes, I am. I'm just kidding. Obviously, just kidding. No, I hear that though. I hear that. I mean,
Mhm.
um, yeah, we got to make space for those folks. We got to empower those folks. Those folks
Mhm.
also have to take the microphone and sit on the panels and do the things. But I have seen a slight improvement in it. I've seen a
I
slight
have
improvement.
to. Yeah.
I've seen a slight improvement from the standpoint that the democratization of voice and influence. It used to be, if you wanted to have a voice in the industry, you could either sit on a panel at Worldwide ERC, or you could write an article for Mobility. Those are pretty much the two ways you could have your voice heard, quote unquote, right?
Mhm.
Now, anybody can make a post on LinkedIn, anybody can make a YouTube video, anybody can do a podcast.
Mhm.
Um, there's a lot more ways to kind of self-publish your thought leadership and your perspective,
Yeah.
and I think that's really cool. I think also the
Absolutely.
I think also the rise of the regionals has been helpful,
Mhm.
be,
Yes,
be,
definitely.
because everybody can't make it to the big show, to
Mm.
the global conference, but you might be able to make it to your local regional and have some influence at that level too.
Yes, no, I totally agree. And I think that that's where the networking and reaching out and empowering your network as well, and working with people in, not just internally in your organization, but also externally to be able to further build those relationships. It's where it's really important, because then you're also being more collaborative, you're sharing more information, people are more open to hearing about your experiences. So I totally agree. I think there definitely has been improvement in that area.
Yeah, cool, cool. All right, let's keep it going here. Is this the last one, Sammy? All right, we got two more. Artificial intelligence, overrated,
Well,
underrated. Last one.
I'm in technology. I want to say it's underrated. There's just never
Underrated. Is
enough.
that possible? It's
Yes,
underrated. It's all
yes.
we talk about, it seems like.
It's all we talk about, but there's so much more that can be done with it. So I absolutely am a huge proponent for AI and really excited about all the things that may be coming in the future. I don't think we can talk about it enough, to be
Give me an
honest.
idea. Give me an idea of where you think it's going in our space.
So, when it comes to mobility, the one space that I'm really, really excited about, which Servicengine has already started looking into, is predictive insights. And it's not just looking at things that have already happened in the past to make decisions or to automate, but it goes beyond the automation and it considers, well, what if this happens, then what? Right. And so I think that that is going to be huge for the mobility industry, suggesting policy changes based on historical data, um, spotting maybe some risks that may be coming up if things aren't met. I have a visa coming up and I haven't even started the process yet. So I'm
Yeah,
60 days out, red, red.
right.
So I think that. the predictive insights, I think is going to be huge in terms of our industry.
I like that. I like
Mhm.
that. I like that a lot. Warning us.
Good.
Too often we're reactive, both
Yes, right.
both on the micro level with transferees and on the macro
Mhm.
level with our clients, or even internally mobility is reactive. You know, it's not leading the strategy. It's figuring out the logistics of getting someone from
Mhm.
A to B. I love that. I think that's fantastic. I think that's a wonderful place to kind of land this plane. Um,
Awesome.
Yasmin, you've been phenomenal.
Oh,
Thank you
thank
so much. I know we
you.
went over time here, but I had so much fun talking to you.
It's okay. Yes. No, this has been really, really fun. Thank you so much, Ben. Again, super honored to be on your show. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm really grateful to you.
Well, thanks so much, and we'll do it again. I can't wait to see you in person. Take care,
Likewise.
and thanks everybody who watched today. We wouldn't
Thank
have a
you.
show without you. Hit
Yes.
that like button, show Yasmin a little bit more love, throw some more comments, some final thoughts in the comments there, and we will see you tomorrow with Chris Klein, now author Chris Klein, as he talks a little bit about his new book about relocation. Take care, everybody. See you tomorrow.
Awesome.